getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Good afternoon to you and yours. It is The Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, Double T Sports Network.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Jeff in for Choice because it's a Friday, and that's how things roll with Choice Woodman's World. Sitting alongside Trent Hilliard and Ben Portman across the way. Sliding slides, pushing buttons for us on the program. We'll get into, data centers and naming rights and naming kids and Astros and Rangers and... You know, I'm sure we'll get some Texas Tech football mentioned in as well, plus whatever you guys want to get into and ask us questions about, and we'll have the expert answer them, and I will just pitch them to the expert because that would be the smart thing to do. You can get those in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, doubleTSportsNetwork.com, or that mobile app, which you can get for free wherever your apps are downloadable from. You can also give Ben a call on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. Coach, I'm sitting here looking at the schedule today, and I see something I really like. And that is Rangers and Braves and Astros and Orioles tonight, because baseball is back today.
Yes.
I love the All-Star game. I enjoy the All-Star game. It wasn't an exciting game this year with regards to the actual event of the game of baseball. It was a great demonstration of an All-Star game. And a great representation of what baseball is now, unfortunately, with great pitching and a couple of home runs, really big inning, and that kind of decides the game. But it's also the inject all of the cheese into my veins that they portray in the All-Star game. I loved every second of it. I then hate the next 2 days going, I am all worked up and ready for baseball, and I have to wait until Friday.
Well, the great thing, it always feels, even though it's beyond the midway point, it feels like, okay, now becomes the home stretch, even though you've got 60-plus games, the equivalent of, about 4 NFL seasons worth of games to go. It still feels like now everyone becomes a little more meaningful, especially when you get into games within your own division. And those matchups, everything becomes really big, and teams will start making moves, buyers, sellers, and all of that. So, it starts to become really, really interesting now as you see who's going to step forward and be competitors from the postseason.
We've already seen one trade in baseball since the All-Star break, and that was the Astros making their deal.
Right.
I don't know about the Astros, and I mean that I don't know if that was a move to get rid of a guy that they were done with, because I'm willing to listen to an argument from an Astros fan saying, no, we were done with him. Or is that a move waving the white flag a little bit? I don't feel like it was a giant move for them,
right?
With McCullers being as off-injured as he was. Good pitcher, not a great pitcher, but a good pitcher, one that you would want on your rotation for sure, when healthy. And it's the staying healthy for them that is the big question mark. But they're only 3 games back in the West. They're a game and a half up on... they're half a game up on the Orioles in the wild card race, and I think they're a game back in the wild card race. Don't quote me on that. That's what I thought I saw earlier today. But they're just there. The part of it is because the AOS is so bad. I could see them even trading off another piece and then making a big move to bolster what they've got and win the division, which is just how crazy the AL West is. So that's going to be interesting for me for the remainder up until the trade deadline to see where that goes. Do the Rangers make a move, or do they let the IL be there making the move? You should be getting 4 players back from the injured list. Astros should be getting a bunch too as well.
Right.
I don't have their timelines as ingrained as I do for the Rangers teams. But it could shape up to be an interesting second half of the season for the AL West. Does Seattle figure it out? Does Oakland do the non-city A's make a move somewhere? I'm intrigued by it. I also like baseball, so I was going to be intrigued by the West anyway. But it's going to be interesting till the trade deadline. I think we'll know a lot more by then how this is going to roll.
Well, and the thing about the AL West, I don't think they're as bad as everybody wants to portray. It's kind of like maybe the Big 12 and some of the other conferences, maybe you could say the ACC, that when you don't have that one standout team or two standout teams at the top, everybody thinks it's a whole week deal. But you look at them and they're right there, like you said. Their records with those teams battling, they've got 3-4 teams right there. Probably 3 that are battling for playoffs to get in and wild card and all that are right there for everybody else. And so they don't have anybody running away with it, so the perception becomes, they're all just average. But with the American League, that's almost everybody seems to be pretty much average, other than just few. And the teams that are up above have kind of stepped back to the pack a little bit once July got here. So
this is where I'm going to disagree with you. Just a hair here.
All right.
It is a bad division. There's one team above 500. One.
Right.
And it's the Texas Rangers. The White Sox are above 500. The Guardians are above 500. The Twins, who are in third place, are 1 game short of 500. Then you've got the Yankees and Rays. You want to put them in a category by themselves. Even the Red Sox, who have not had a great season, are 1 game under 500, or 2 games under 500.
Right.
So they're right there, and that's third place, as opposed to the AL West with a 47-51 record. That's 4 games for the Astros, short of 500. The A's are 41-55, and the Angels are just partaking in the season, really.
Right, but there's again your third place team, the Astros, 47-51. Third place team in the Central, 48-49. Third place team in the East, 46-48. Those are all equivalent to each other. It's that you don't have the team that's running away with it right now. The White Sox, they're not necessarily running away with them. The Guardians, so the Central and the West are pretty similar. You've got Tampa Bay and the Yankees that have done really well, and the Yankees have struggled lately. And so I would say it's just the perception is those top teams may be better. That'd be fine, and it'd be different if it was. We just played within the league, and you played the people in your league so much more. The scheduling now is so much more equal as far as across the board. Nash playing the other division, the other league, all that type of stuff. That I just don't think they're as far away from it as everybody thinks.
I think their offense for the Rangers is. I think
it comes and goes for sure.
The health of the Astros is.
Yeah.
And
it's scary because I think the Astros could be the team that makes the run if they get everybody healthy. But this last trade maybe kind of signified, hey, maybe we're going to make the push for next year. Let's load up. So we'll see what they do.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Thoughts off the Yates Flooring Center chat line. This one from Michael from the Ranch. Now Texas Tech has a galaxy that's far, far away from anybody else. They always say Olympics in the middle of nowhere. Well, yeah. I think my favorite one I saw earlier today, the Guardians of the Galaxy came up when it first broke. The best team in the Galaxy came up earlier today. There's a lot of some play on words that can be done with the marketing department, and I'm sure that some very smart, young, and hip people are involved in that. I am... Yeah, none of those. So I will be interested to see what the marketing department attaches with and goes from for all of the naming possibilities and ticket options and everything else that they're going to be going with. But much more interested in what's actually happening on the field itself rather than just the stadium. Coach, I'm sure you're like everybody else that you're expecting a good season from the Texas Tech Red Raider football team, and the roster itself is obviously built to do exactly what you did last year, and that is win the Big 12 and make it to the college football playoff as the Big 12 champion. But if I were to give you an option right now to fast forward to one game, which game are you picking and why?
Game that I think Tech needs to win. I would say the Arizona. I think the Arizona game, the Halloween matchup, is going to be a big swing game, or possible swing game there. I think Arizona is going to be pretty good coming in, and that one's going to have a lot of hype. Hopefully, it'll be a night game. A big game that's a night game on Halloween. Man, how much fun will that be at the Galaxy?
Fully realizing this is different, we've had some not so much fun night games. There's one big one everybody remembers, and oh, by the way, that was on November 1st.
Right.
That was not on Halloween.
Nope.
That was the day after. Some people were still dressed up from Halloween, and I totally get it. But Halloween hasn't always been so much fun around football season for the Red Raider football team. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, this is obviously a different year and a different team and a completely different roster when it comes to the abilities of what we expect them to be. I think Arizona's a good answer. I'm kind of debating for myself on which one I would go to. Whether it would be the Houston game, being your first Big 12 game, you get past your two non-conference games that I think you're going to easily handle. Or I'm looking at Arizona State on October 17th. And a lot of that is because the loser of that game has won the Big 12 in the last 2 years. Now, do I think that's just how that happens? No, I think some things had to fall the way it did. But if people can use only one team has ever made it out of the college football playoff that had a bye as, why you don't want to bye, I'm going to use that as, hey, every team that's lost that game has won the Big 12 championships.
Right.
The numbers kind of correlate there. They hand in hand kind of thing.
Until it changes.
Until it changes, right. It's just, I think that's becoming a nice little rivalry between the two schools. Nothing like what they've got with Arizona. Let's make this clear. Both teams are gearing up for that game because they got in the game before and didn't like it.
Right.
But that's how good rivalries are built.
Yeah.
I mean, the regional rivalries for sure. But when you really start getting pounded by one team every year, and all of a sudden you start winning some, and then they start getting pounded, the balance of that's how the hatred from a fan base, from one to another, gets built. It's why not my favorite team in the Big 12 is West Virginia. I mean, my hatred for Houston is long and established, but when it comes to a manufactured rivalry, there's not just really one sport I'm just like hoping West Virginia does well in. I've experienced some losses to those teams and some things in the football field and on the basketball court and the baseball diamond that weren't just a lot of fun. And they sure did really enjoy doing that to us, and that's not something I want to relive again. And we've got some wins over them that they are looking at us going, I'm not really sure I enjoyed taking my number 5 team into your little state there and getting our tail whipped forever ago now. But that's been built up as a nice little rivalry where the fan bases don't like each other very much. And part of me is disappointed in that because I feel like the people of West Texas and the people of the mountains could kind of get along if they were allowed to. But we put this whole college football thing in there and basketball and baseball thing in there, and all of a sudden we can't like each other.
Yeah, it's the battle for country roads.
Yeah, well, no. Because that song is definitely about Western Virginia, not West Virginia. There are no mountains.
But they don't know that.
But John Denver was a Texas Tech student.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the song is about Virginia. Western Virginia. Look at where the map is. That's all we got to Anyhow.
The good thing about, the rivalry with Arizona State is because now we're playing them again.
Yes.
And that's the problem with the Big 12 is you don't get to play, and every conference nowadays, that you don't have sustained scheduling with most everybody. And so to have a rivalry, you need to play somebody. Like BYU, you feel like that's a rivalry, but, if we don't match up in the conference championship, we go another year without, playing them. And so I wish the Big 12 would find a way to have scheduling where you had everybody or a certain group that you played every year and could have that rivalry, because, Oklahoma State would become much more of a rival. TCU, those would be Tech's main rivals if we had the opportunity to play them every single year.
The catch for that, and this is one of the downfalls of having so many Texas teams in the Big 12. If I was Tech, I would say your biggest rival in the Big 12 is Oklahoma State, that is currently left. And now that's just my opinion. You may have a different opinion. I'm willing to listen to it. If I was TCU or Baylor, I would have those two going head to head.
Right.
If I was Houston, man, that's a great question. I don't know who their biggest rival in the Big 12 would be. Tech kind of fits that bill with regards to basketball success. Those games have been very hotly contested on the basketball court on the men's side for sure. There's no love lost between those two schools, don't get me wrong, but like as a number one rival, I don't know who the U of H would pick specifically of the four teams. I'm not really sure Oklahoma State would pick Tech. I think they would, but that's a guess on my part.
Right.
There's still some things getting figured out with a natural rivalry that you can't just stamp it. You could stamp it with four different teams for Tech and it would make sense. I feel like you could stamp it with several teams in the Big 12 and it would make sense that just having that one, you'd be missing out on opportunities to play the others. It's not like an Arizona State, Utah, BYU, Kansas State kind of thing. I would be interested. I don't know how you would get the poll done, but to poll the fan bases and actually see where those numbers actually lie for every school compared to every school.
Right. Because I always think, okay, if you took the Big 12, you put it into pods of four.
Yeah.
And those were the teams that you were going to say, okay, these are who you're going to play every year. Where Arizona State, BYU, Utah kind of makes sense to have those four. And then you could go with the old Big 8, but you've got five. And so you've got Colorado, you've got Iowa State, you've got Kansas State, you have Oklahoma State. And so do you take Oklahoma State off, put them with Tech, Baylor, TCU, and then Houston, you go, okay, do you put them with UCF, Cincinnati, West Virginia? How would you do something like that to try to keep your rivalries going, or is there a better way to do it?
I actually figured out east-west wise, if you just were driving, you draw a line from the East Coast and come west, Houston would be in the east for dividing the Big 12 in half.
But it seemed like Houston and UCF kind of have a little natural rivalry with the whole space thing going on or whatever that could be there. Houston, Cincinnati seems like just your more city or your pro town type thing.
UCF hates is Florida State and Miami. I think that's the end of their list. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line one more time with Trent Hilliard is with us on our lunch hour. He'll vacate the studio and get Lisa room for Jamie Lent unless Jamie asks you to stay. You're welcome to. I'm not kicking you out. Ben Portman across the way, sliding slides, pushing buttons for us on the program. Jeff McGuire filling in for Choice Woodman because it's Friday. That's all you need to know. Look at the calendar, and that tells you where Choice Woodman is. Resident Aggie chiming in, and this is right. Resident Aggie is my favorite Aggie. Jeff, Oklahoma State would just copy whatever Texas rival is. So, yeah, there's some truth in that. Well played, sir. This texture asked an interesting question. I'm going to tell you ahead of time. I don't know. I have to ask him. Does Robbo really believe that closed-loop data centers don't use water? That's all the data centers say. He's so gullible. I don't know. He and I haven't talked about it. I am a computer geek. I think that's been well established on many, many shows. My computer is water cooled. That I've got a water pump that's connected to our fans and a radiator for my processor chip, because it gets hot and water has a higher thermal rate of conversion, so it stores more hot that it can get off of the processor. It's a closed loop system. I have never had to put water in it. It's called, what I have is called an AIO all-in-one water system. It's worked well for me, but the data centers, while upscaled, it's on a massive upscale. They're going to use a little water. It's not no water. The initial fill is a lot of water. I don't know what Rob Rowe believes.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, there's stuff outside you got to do for around a data center that requires water with, trees and stuff. And so, I mean, it's how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go on this with regards to computers? And if you ask if I'm pro data center, to what extent? Your phone's a data center. My laptop is a data center. The computer on my desk is technically a data center. It stores data for me. For the record, I don't use the cloud at all on any device I use. What if I told you the cloud was just somebody else's computer? Would you want to use it? No, that's kind of where my head rolls. But whether one should be built in Lubbock or not Lubbock, or I got nothing for you. Yeah. Other than I'm a computer geek and I understand the concept. I am not doing a deep dive into the politics of this. You are talking the wrong guy about that. As for what Rob Rowe believes, you've got to ask him. I got no idea. Are Kirby Hocutt and Andrea Terry completely oblivious to the optics of data centers? This is par for the course for tech. They want to be relevant at all costs.
It seems to me like I said, we're not funding the data center. The data center is funding us. And so they're going to be built. They're going to be out there. And if they're donating to us, that's great. And because it's Galaxy Stadium, it's not Galaxy Data Center Stadium,
right? That you're playing at the Jones.
It's different. I think if it were, Galaxy Data Centers or Galaxy AI Data or whatever it is, it would be a little different. But just Galaxy Stadium, people can associate it with whatever. So I think that helps a little bit, and I bet that was probably part of the negotiations. The
other aspect of this, and this is something that they're going to have to figure out. There's two things I think of when you say galaxy to me. The Milky Way / Andromeda, or whatever major cluster of stars in the universe we're talking about. Or my phone. They aren't the same company.
Yeah.
They're not even close to the same company. So that's going to have... And that's probably why Galaxy is using this as an opportunity to do that. Are they oblivious? They're taking a check.
Yeah.
It's a big check. Really big check. And like you said, they're not building it on Texas Tech campus. That's not... As far as I know. Hang on. As far as I'm aware, there is no data center being built on Texas Tech University campus. But it's no different than where the Dallas Mavericks play basketball. It's American Airlines Center. Does American Airlines just have the best reputation among flyers? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But they sure enjoy getting that check. The Dallas Cowboys, American Airlines is your primary travel partner, or what's a corporate sponsor, whatever it is. Again, where you decide to get your checks from doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No.
I don't. I understand the question. I can't think of a baseball team, football team, basketball team, hockey team that their corporate naming sponsor has affected my opinion of their team.
Right.
T. Boone Pickens, only because it's T. Boone Pickens, because he was helping Oklahoma State, not Tech. Otherwise, I didn't care who T. Boone Pickens was.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off base on this. And that will not be the first time today that I have been off base on something, or this week, or the last time, really, today, that goes. T-Money 806 chiming in, and, there's a little truth in this. You got to flush toilets, and I drink a lot of coffee. Yeah. However, we're not debating building or not building a data center, guys. That's not what we on this station are capable of doing. The company is a data center. It's still a stadium where Texas Tech is going to be playing football. And by the way, I'm still going to call it the Jones. If I say, hey, do you want to go to the Jones this weekend? No one's going to get lost. Nobody. They're going to get it. There will be some people that call it the Galaxy Stadium. Galaxy Stadium. They're allowed to do that. That's one of those great things about this country. Yep. You can say those kind of things and go from there.
Well, everybody is always worried about the economy and all that. So, hey, us taking these naming rights and doing that's probably going to be able to maintain that ticket price a little bit more affordable than it would be if you didn't, because you've got to have money. You've got to have money for NIL. You've got to have money to pay coaches. You've got to have money for all this stuff, and somebody outside we're able to collect that from. So that makes things more affordable for most people. So. You can't have everything that you want, and this certainly helps with nobody wants to see the ticket prices go up. Ticket prices are going to be up $100 per ticket for everybody because we've got to be able to pay UIL. There'd be more of an outrage.
Yeah, and by the way, ticket prices are going to go up because there's going to be more of a demand for tickets because you just won a Big 12 championship.
I know. I wish I could have season tickets, but they're sold out.
Are there concerns that I'm sure the people in higher offices that make a lot more money and a lot smarter than I am put together? Absolutely. I will say this. I like that it's something tangible with regards to a data center's a thing. It's an actual thing. Now, I don't have an opinion on build it, don't build it. I don't care. Someone smarter than me is telling the people that need to know what to do. They're not building it near me. I'm not going to be affected by it, other than the initial water drain. And again, smarter people than me will be figuring that out. But it's not the Bitcoin phrase that went through when everybody had their own digital coin, that it seemed like there were 7 of them advertised during the Super Bowl alone, or all the different website companies that we were all inundated by it. I'm not building an outrage factory yet. I already built my outrage factory, and that was about Davis Martin not making the All-Star team, okay? Or Ezekiel Duran not making the All-Star team. That was my outrage factory. I don't have an outrage factory for this, especially since I'm really just going to call it the Jones.
Yeah.
I'll say the Jones, and everyone will know where I am.
Yeah.
Which might explain why attendance would be down this year if I do that a lot, so I get that.
It'll still be referred to by most old people as the Jones. Yeah. Newer people will probably start calling it Galaxy, and everybody will know that you're going to the same place.
I'm waiting for that one person to go, hey, what's that big building over there? Oh, I think that's the football field.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
After afternoon rolling on the bottom line on 100.7 The Score, Double T, sportsnetwork.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Jeff in for Choice on a Friday, sitting alongside Jamie Lent, and now Ben Portman across the way, sliding slides, pushing buttons for us. I got that backwards. Now joined by Jamie Lent, Ben Portman still sliding slides and pushing buttons for us. I'm just making this up as I go, and you can tell me about how much of a dumb person I am. Not the first person to say it. Not the last person today. On the Exploring Center chat line at doubleTSportsNetwork.com or on the mobile app. You can also give us a call on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. 7 Fridays after today, Jamie. We'll be getting ready for Texas Tech football and Abilene Christian.
That's good.
I look at the summer and fully realizing that's almost 2 full months, right? I mean, I like the way it should feel. It like 8 weeks in theory. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like the gears are starting to get going. The proverbial dust is getting knocked off of some of those things that you're like, okay, we got to start getting game day plans set up. We've got to start figuring out tailgates. We've got to start figuring out how we're going to get to the game, who's going to drive. You know, all those conversations get started. Who's going to be your starting quarterback? What's the running back room going to look like? And we've had some of those conversations already, but it's. I was shocked when I looked at that this morning. It's after today, 7 Fridays away.
That's fun, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I like other sports seasons as well. Obviously, I'm a big baseball guy and have plenty of interest in basketball as well. But this fan base, the community, whatever, I think as a whole is a lot more excited about football season. And when the fans are excited, it makes it more fun for us. So, yeah, I obviously have a major interest in Texas Tech football. So I'm ready for it.
I've heard that about you, that you have a major interest there.
I'm ready for it. Let's go. And I think, I don't know, the off-season, the way it has gone, I'm not just whining about, oh, man, we got to get to football so we can get rid of this off-season. I'm not that guy, but I am the guy that was kind of offended by some of the things that were said about us this off-season, so I'm ready to put it on some folks. Okay, and of course I'm wanting the Tech football team to do the dirty work for me. I can do nothing. I can do nothing but talk trash afterwards. And if you know
talking trash afterwards.
Yeah, if you know anything about me, you know I'm all about the talking trash. So
I do feel like though there's a couple of schools that you would be happy to talk some trash about at the end of a thorough tail kicking.
I just think a big smile is way more, it's just jabs the knife a little bit deeper than any kind of running of the mouth. I'll take KU all day, every day.
Why? Why would you ever say that out loud?
Yeah, why would you ruin that, Ben?
No,
I don't know, they must have been playing TCU or something.
In other words, you'll take on KU all day.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Well, sure.
Provide some context.
Yeah, that's one of the schools that I'd really like to pound.
You mentioned the E word there. And if I were to ask Joey McGuire, which I will never ask him this question because I know the answer, the man wakes up and he's excited about brushing his teeth in the morning. That's not a bad thing. I'm a big fan of dental hygiene. However, I don't need to tell you that I'm excited to wake up in the morning and brush my teeth. That's all it takes for Joey McGuire to be excited is the waking up part, and he's ready to go.
I feel like I'm a lot more excited to do it in the morning than at night.
Brush your teeth?
Yes. At nighttime, I mean, I'm very, very consistent with doing it at least twice a day. But at nighttime, I'm just like, I'm exhausted. I just want to get in bed. In the morning, I'm like, okay, this is going to wake me up. It's going to get me going. But at nighttime, I'm like, oh, man. Oh,
I know why I do this. I don't know why I still do it, except that it's just become the habit. I brush my teeth in the shower. And I do that because there was not room for a toothbrush and toothpaste on my sink with my ex-wife for me.
Okay.
So all of my stuff was in the shower, which is why it's just been there and it never moved out.
I never thought about doing that. It does seem odd, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it.
No, it's just different.
So do you.
That's where my stuff
It's killing two birds with one stone. So I guess that guarantees that you have to shower every morning.
I usually shower when I get home.
What if you don't shower in the morning? Do you just go stand in the shower and brush your teeth?
Then I'll hit the sink. Yeah.
Put your toothbrush and your toothpaste is in the shower.
It's right there, but then I put
standing
it back.
There,
fully
closed, fully clothed.
No.
Brushing away.
I do move it to the sink, and then I put it back. It lives in the shower.
I would question you a little bit at that point.
You're gonna question me anyway.
Yeah.
That's just one more thing.
Yeah.
So, is your excitement level higher or lower than last year?
Higher.
Is it?
It's higher because I want to inflict pain on people who talk smack about us. I mean, all of that. Yes, I want them to feel it a little bit. So I'm excited. I'm excited, and I feel like I am more invested than I was a year ago.
See, it's weird because I'm maybe as excited, but if I actually had to be on the definitive side of more or less excited, that you can't be the exact same amount of excited as you were, sure, I would probably be less excited than I was last year.
Why do you think that is?
One, because last year everybody hated us because we were spending money and getting great players. And then it was the great players that we were getting and we were hearing about. And you were hearing about what David Bailey was doing in practice, and you were hearing about what you were seeing from the defensive side, and you saw what you saw at the spring game, and it just kept ramping up for how good we were going to be, as opposed to the poison pill that it felt like we had to take this year for the offseason. And you did it last year, but you also had a bad taste in your mouth at the end of it last year. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for this year. I want it to be better, specifically at the end, than you finished last season, but everybody else does too. It's not like it's vastly different either. It's 5% less, 10% less than it was last year. And maybe that's because you got to the Big 12 championship game last year. You won that game and made the college football playoff. Now it's okay. Let's get back into football season and get back to that point. And that's when I think my excitement will tick back up to where it was at the beginning of the season last year.
Okay.
And that, which is why it surprises me a little bit, because you're such an even-keeled guy that you're definitely more excited this year.
Well, I just feel like we suffered through an off season where all the shots were being thrown at us and we really couldn't respond. And the best way to respond is on the field. And so now we'll get our chance to, you know what, you said this and you whined about that and all the above. Okay, well, have at it. That's fine. You took your shots. You guys all banded together. You all hate us. We get it. You know, we think we get to spend too much money and the league should do something about it. Okay, well, you want to fire shots? Well, time for us to fire back. I want to inflict pain on people who talk smack about us. Yeah. And we don't have to do it without saying a word. Just go beat them on the field. And I'm fine if you beat them badly.
Specifically a few schools.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line, halfway through the program here on 100.7 The Score, TSportsNetwork.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Jeff in for Choice on a Friday, sitting alongside Jamie Lent, Ben Portman across the way. Slide and slides, pushing buttons. The button he's about to push, Jamie's question of the day.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
So guys, as we look at the Texas Tech football schedule, I'll be honest, I don't know that I have an answer for my own question. But I think that also means it's a completely open-ended question. I don't know that there's a wrong answer for this question. What 3-game stretch in the schedule is the most boring 3-game stretch? And the reason that I'm struggling with this, for why I kind of want to point your heads at, even the Houston game being your 3rd game of the season, if you went 1-2 Houston, That's, like you said, top 25 matchup. That's your first home Big 12 game. It's a rivalry-type atmosphere with Houston. There's some juice built into that. That there's not just a string this year of games that I go, There's not a 3 letdown game, I guess, a stretch that I have seen. I think the most exciting stretch is at the end of the year with Oklahoma State, Baylor, and TCU. I think you end on 3 high notes when it comes to facing rivalry-type teams. But I don't know that there's a bad 3-game stretch here. So which one is you think is the worst?
You're wrong.
No, that's later.
You're asking a really difficult question. I think you have to go with 1, 2, 3 right out of the chute, because the first 2 don't seem like they're going to be exciting to me, even though I'm the most excited for Houston. After that, I might go 4, 5, 6, because Sam Houston State at home, Colorado on the road, and Arizona State. I would rank the home game with Houston over the home game with Arizona State. Sam Houston State and Abilene Christian are the same as far as excitement level. At Oregon State, at Colorado, I'm a little more excited for Colorado, but so yeah, I think I'd have to go the first 3 games of the season.
Okay. Ben?
I mean, I couldn't agree more. Let's just imagine Houston and Sam Houston swapped, but they're not. But you can't have any better answer than that.
Yeah.
Even though you have, like you said, another chance for a revenge game against Dion in Colorado after what happened here with Shador and company and Arizona State.
What an honor for our players to get to go up there and play in a stadium where Shador Sanders' jersey number is hanging. What a great honor for our team.
He won a Heisman Trophy.
No, he didn't.
No, I'm sorry.
He's wide receiver / cornerback. What
Yeah.
a Heisman Trophy.
The Colorado struggles in the history between the 2 schools. I want to go back to Colorado as much as I want to go back to Missouri and play on some of those fields that they played on, especially as they were getting ready to leave the Big 12.
Yeah, don't do that. You'll get somebody hurt.
Yeah, a lot even. I'm just, as I look at this, you're right. I would very much compare 1, 2, 3 almost identical to 4, 5, 6 with regards to interest level that you've got there. But I also look at least in Oregon State, it's a Division I program. Are they the Division I program they were 10 years ago? Absolutely not. They're not. They have fallen on all the things that we were worried about when the Pac-12 when the Pac-8 went to the Pac-12. Pac-8? No. Or were they before 12? Were they 8 before 12?
They were 10.
Pac-10.
Pac-10, okay. Pac-10 before they added the 12, and they were
Big
talking
8.
about...
You're thinking Big 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. When they were talking about adding Texas and Oklahoma State and somebody else, we didn't want to be the school that got left out. Mm-hmm. And if you want to see why, look at Oklahoma State Oregon State right now and Washington State right now. They are the prime examples of what could have happened to the Red Raiders at that point had the Big 12 not stayed together in the form that it was.
How things have changed.
Right, and they were the ones that didn't want us joining because they didn't think we were worthy of being around.
Oh, that was like Cal, right?
Oh, it was all of them.
Utah, Cal and Utah, yeah.
But at least it's a Division I school. Whereas if you start 4, 5, 6, you've got Division I school in Houston, Colorado Division I school, not good school. I mean, not great with Colorado, but you've got 2 Division I's there. The rest of your Big 12, it's all Big 12 games. And I also don't know that there's a Big 12 section that compares to the last 3 games for interest. I don't know that there's a 3-game stretch that I'm like, there's not a ho-hum interesting thing I can find and a game I'm really interested in.
That's why I said you're wrong. There's no bad 3-game stretch, I feel like.
There's got to be, though.
Okay, so if I asked you and said, what's the most boring 2-game stretch?
I would go Abilene Christian, Oregon State.
Okay, right.
But
so that's why, and I don't think anything else is even close.
I will be willing to listen to Sam Houston in Colorado as being as bad.
Yeah, but I mean, Colorado is a Big 12 foe because you're going to put Sam Houston State and Abilene Christian in the same category, right? And by the way, Abilene Christian's way better team, and they have Coach Patterson, which we like. So
yeah.
You'd take Abilene Christian over Sam Houston State, and Colorado you would take over Oregon State, right?
Yes.
As far as your interest in that
interest
game.
level goes, yeah.
But that's way more important than Abilene Christian and Sam Houston State, which is very similar, even though one's better than the other.
And even the non-interesting sections of your Big 12 play have become interesting. I mean, does anybody expect West Virginia and Oklahoma State to put up a fight with the Red Raiders this year? Like an actual...
Oklahoma State on the road, I think that could be interesting. I don't. West Virginia at home, but...
I would be shocked if either of those games were within 20. And that's not to say that Eric Morris can't coach. That's not going to say that they didn't bring in a bunch of talent to make the roster better. But it's also North Texas that they brought a bunch of that talent from. And you compete at a different level than North Texas does for recruits.
Would like to think so.
And I'm almost cheering for Eric Morris to do well.
Almost.
It's Oklahoma State. There's bad feelings there. I don't want him to do bad, and that's about the nicest thing I can say about Oklahoma State. But, it's such a balanced schedule that it's not a great schedule. It's not a schedule that you sit there and go, you're running the gauntlet here. Part of the reason is because...
Actually, it is.
You're the gauntlet.
I think we are running it.
Well, no, when I think of running the gauntlet, like what you would be running through back in the day, where you'd have like Nebraska and A&M.
Saying it was way, way tough.
Yeah.
Okay, well... I think we're running it. Whatever you want to call it, I think we're running it. I think we're running it 12-0.
Which would be fun.
Yeah.
I would sign up for that today, even with what we got today.
What you're saying is accurate. So by definition, you wouldn't really call it the gauntlet if you're winning all the games. So you wouldn't call it a gauntlet. And
dominating all the games. So I think even Oklahoma at the time, when it was the gauntlet of the Big 12, or when Texas had won it those couple of years that they had, that if you run through the Big 12, you've done something.
Yeah.
We're all sitting here today. We all know what this is. Mm-hmm. It's not...
like in 2008, I mean, you beat ranked teams like Kansas and Oklahoma State and Texas, and before you even got to Oklahoma. And, the Kansas one was on the road. And then, obviously, you know about the Texas one. And Oklahoma State was the next week.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, man, will Texas Tech be, looking back and feeling good about themselves with their win in Texas. And, because if I remember correctly, wasn't Oklahoma State like top 15? Am I wrong there?
I think that's right.
I thought they were.
That's right.
Okay. And then you just pounded them, right? And then you got that evil bye week that ruined everything.
So I imagine that Jamie Lent is getting very quick to the no more bye weeks ever again.
No, that's not what I want. It's good for your football team.
I think Oklahoma State was 9th when you played them.
See, there you go. That is technically top 15.
So what do you guys think? What 3-game stretch are you looking at going, we could skip those 3, it'd be okay?
I don't want to skip any of the Houston.
Well, no,
I don't want to skip the Houston game, man. That's the one I'm excited about.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, Double T, SportsNetwork.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Jeff in for Choice on a Friday, sitting alongside Jamie Lent and Ben Portman across the way. He's the first voice you hear when you give us a call on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. Jamie, I'm getting a little concerned about our Red Raider basketball team.
Okay.
And not concerned like we won't have a team, but a little concerned that it won't be up to the same level that we are used to around here. And one part of that concern comes from is you've been so successful in getting players either through the transfer portal or recruiting classes for the better part of a decade, it feels like, that you're not at all this year. And I don't think it's because of a lack of trying. I don't think it's because of a lack of money. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think big men in basketball are kind of like pitchers in baseball. Starting pitchers in baseball, they're the hardest to get because it's
Everybody
harder.
wants one.
Yeah, it's harder to find the great ones, and the really good ones are commanding a lot of money, and the biggest programs are snatching them up as quick as possible. And so it's easier to find guards in college basketball like it is infielders or outfielders in college baseball. So I don't know why, but
you also have a really good one on the sideline right now.
Yeah, and I would think that you have money tied up to him, and I do think there is. I'm not saying there's a salary cap by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not unlimited, the money that you have to spend on your roster, and you've brought in three guys, three players that it feels like will be good players for you as well. I just look at what you have right now. I'm just going to say you don't have JT Toppin at the beginning of the season, whenever he comes back, whether it's late December, early January, whatever. And then I also don't think he's going to be JT Toppin of last year just at the drop of a hat, right? It's going to take a little while.
There's going to take a little warm-up there.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit. And so that may be 3 or 4 weeks, but it's still, that matters, right? And so I worry about that. And then I just look at, you lost 2 guys off of last year's team, and Christian Anderson and Donovan Atwell. Why do we always have a hard time remembering Donovan's name? You lost those 2 guys. I don't think you're going to have a point guard that you've brought in that's going to score 20 a game and be top 10 in the country in assists. I don't think that guy's on your roster. And I don't think one of the highest percentage shooting 3-point shooters in the country is currently on your roster.
Yeah.
And then you don't have JT Toppin of last year. So the high-end talent that you had in those 3 guys, you don't have right now. Will JT be there at some point? Probably. But when that comes, I don't know. And so I just look at that high-end talent. Now, if you're comparing what you have with big man depth compared to last year, you didn't have great big men last year either.
No. Not at the end of the year.
Yeah, you just didn't. You got some. There were games where they were factors, but you didn't have great. So I don't know that that's all that different from last year. But your 3 studs, I don't know that you have that high-end talent in those 3 areas right now. And so, I think we went into last year going, this roster is loaded. You got a chance to compete for a Big 12 championship, but you're probably somewhere in the top 3 or 4, which is right around where you finished, right? I don't know that we can say that right now. Still looks like an NCAA tournament team, but probably is finishing closer to 6 or 7 in the Big 12 conference. But at the same time, I haven't been dialed into what everybody else has either. Okay.
No.
So I would have to look at that as well. But I think right now my expectations are a little bit lower than they were last season. Maybe this team clicks, and maybe the depth that you've created at the guard position just meshes really well together. And we know Coach McCaslin can coach and all that good stuff. And I don't know about the Momo Faye thing. It seems like that's in question a little bit now, but maybe he comes in and is a big factor for you as well. So I'm holding out hope. But right now, my expectations are for you to not be as good as you were last year.
You do bring up a very, very valid point at near the end of that. I still have faith in Greg McCaslin coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still think he is an excellent basketball coach. I am not, and I'm not questioning.
But we also know great basketball coaches usually have great players.
That helps. I've heard that rumor.
And again, I don't know that you have the high-end talent right now that you had last year.
And I think he knows how to get the most out of his players, which is what a good coach needs to be able to do. He wouldn't have had the success at North Texas that he had without it. But I'm looking at what we've got now and what's been announced, and there could be 4 or 5 guys that just haven't been announced yet, that they're waiting to all announce them together, waiting for the final piece to get done, and we could be singing the praises of the rest of the roster when it comes in. That's completely allowed. They're allowed to keep me in the dark. I'm not upset if that's what the case is. It's just so strange from what we have expected and what we've experienced to be on this side of it this time, of not having gotten one of the players that you were looking at getting earlier this year. Whether Faye makes it or not, I hate to put all my eggs in one basket, and I don't think that's what's happened here. I think Texas Tech is getting good at this, of getting I don't say foreign players, but I guess the foreign players is the right word, the phrase to use here, of getting them cleared and taken care of. But it is a little frustrating that it's not signed, sealed, and delivered already. Mm-hmm. That being said, I'm going to still root for the Red Raiders to win. I still think they're going to win more games than they lose. I still think that they're a tournament team. I just don't, like you, I don't feel like they're going to be in contention of the Big 12 title. You might be like that next tier down that I like to call we're going to be one of the teams you have to beat if you want to win the Big 12 title. Not that we're competing for it, but if you have a loss to us, that's going to be one of because the team that won the Big 12 title beat us. You didn't, if that kind of makes sense. Like that next tier down of people that will have a say in who the Big 12 title is. That might be a way to describe it. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And I also think that with a little bit of luck, basketball is going to get a pass at the beginning of the season because we're all going to be focused on Red Raider football season.
Yeah, and then there's one massive factor, right? The Darian Williams factor. If the 5-for-5 thing with the previous class passes and that lawsuit wins, then, it really feels like it would be a done deal that Darian Williams will be playing for your team. Yeah, and there's no argument that on him on the roster when he wants to play would help. Yeah, makes you a better team. You are able to do things with him if he wants to play. And I'm going to keep saying that every time. Because when he didn't want to play, he wasn't much help to your roster when he was here before. But he will make your roster better. There's no argument about that. I just hope he wants to play.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.